2019 is called to order.
I'm gonna call him again. That tires.
Do we have any special intentions? Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask everyone to keep in their prayers for Mr. Weldon Kick Urson. He actually worked for the City of Kenner Recreation Department for a couple of years. He is a lifelong resident of the City of Kenner, him and his family. He is a personal friend of mine, actually a neighbor around the corner who passed last Saturday. And he will be truly missed. And I ask that you keep him and his family in your prayers. Mr. Weldon Kick Urson. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor Zahn?
We have a City of Kenner Parks and Recreation employee, Mr. Anthony Lamb, passed away last week. He was a supervisor at Woodward Gym, and he passed away last Sunday. We also have a lifelong Kenner resident, Mr. Pat Clancy. He is a World War II veteran, longtime member of the VFW Post 7732, passed away this past Thursday morning. Ashley, myself, and the council recognized him last year for his service to the country and presented him the key to the city. So just keep it. That's a longtime Kenner resident. Keep him in your prayers, the family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Zahn. Seeing no others, Councilwoman McKinney, would you lead us in the prayer, please?
Yes. Hello? Please. Wait, what? Oh,
It's on.
it's not. Okay. Please bow your heads. Lord, thank you for this day, and the opportunity for us to come together and make decisions for our community and work together for the best of Kenner. Please give us direction, fortitude, and grace to deal with the challenges that lay ahead. May we seek always to always listen with open ears and seek guidance from you in all we do. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Councilman Brannigan, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum this evening. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones, pagers, beepers, and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. At this time, we'll entertain any resolutions, motions, or other items from the floor. Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda. Item 1 is approval of minutes, the council meeting of February 7th, 2019. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. Item 2A is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Celebracion Hispana de Kenner on March 23rd, 2019 and March 24th, 2019 at 4545 Williams Boulevard in the green space rear of Punch Train Center, being property owned by the City of Kenner. Item 2B is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Kenner Italian Heritage Incorporated on April 5th, 2019, April 6th, 2019, April 7th, 2019, in the 300 and 400 blocks of Williams Boulevard. Item 2C is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to the Friends of Rivertown on March 4th, 2019, at 415 Williams Boulevard. Item 2D is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Friends of Rivertown on May 3rd, 2019, May 10th, 2019, May 17th, 2019, May 24th, 2019, May 31st, 2019, at 2015 4th Street. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2108-19, BEMA, to hold a public gathering on March 16, 2019, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the purpose of a car show at Laketown. Item 3B is application number 2138-19, Celebracion Hispana de Kenner Incorporated to hold a public gathering on March 23rd and 24th, 2019, from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday, and from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday, for the purpose of a Kenner Hispanic Fest at the rear parking lot of the Punch Train Center. Item 3C is application 2141-19, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton School to hold a public gathering on March 1st, 2019, from 1:15 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. for the purpose of a Mardi Gras parade at 4119 St. Elizabeth Drive. Item 3D is application 2143-19, Washington STEM School to hold a public gathering on February 27, 2019, from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for the purpose of a Mardi Gras parade at 606 Clay Street. Item 3E is application 2144-19, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on March 4, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the purpose of a Lundi Gras 2019 at the Rivertown parking lot. Item 3F is application 2146-19, the City of Kenner Recreation Department to hold a public gathering on March 23, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the purpose of a Hot Diggity Dog Fest at Kenner City Park Dog Park. Item 3G is application 2147-19, the Crescent City Cruisers Classic Car Club Incorporated to hold a public gathering on March 15, 2019, from 6:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the purpose of a classic car cruise night at Laketown. For the record, please note the City of Kenner is only approving March 15, 2019. The other dates will have to come before the council at a later date. Item 3H is application 2148-19, Church on a Mission to hold a public gathering on March 10, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. for the purpose of a church service at Mus Bertolino Gymnasium. Again, for the record, please note that the City of Kenner is approving this event to happen at Mus Bertolino Gymnasium, not at Laketown. Item 4 is correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads. Item 4A, at the request of the administration, a report from Mayor Zahn.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Council Chairman. Last Wednesday, we did a code sweep in Councilman Carroll's district with the help of his office, District 1, in the Susan Park area. The Kenner Code Department went to the 3,3100 block of Akron and the 3,3100 block of Phoenix. In that period of time, we had 22 violations and 2 court summons. So I want to thank Councilman Carroll for his assistance from his office with that. I know he's received numerous complaints like I have. And also, of course, Mr. James Muhammad and Molly McGinnis of the Kenner Code Department, along with the men and ladies that are keeping our city clean. We try to give these reports as often as we can because basically they're out there every week doing these code sweeps. So this is what keeps our city looking good. We have numerous code complaints. Y'all know that. Each and every one of you all get that like we do. Code Department gets it. So again, thanks to every council member for assisting with that. Another good news is that our taxes, sales taxes, are up again. Overall city revenue is ahead of projections. Our sales tax are up. Our fines might be down, collection of our fines might be down by $500,000, but our sales taxes are up. Sales tax collected in December, which is what we get in the report on right now, is up by 10%. That is over last year at this time. For the whole fiscal year at this time, it's up around 6.4%. That is a $1.5 million increase to the city of Kenner. Now, don't get too excited because remember, like I told you last time I gave you a sales tax report, is that we borrowed 2.3 from the general fund before some of this council got here from the last council in this administration. This increase will, if it continues to increase like this, eventually it will make us hold. We are doing a lot better with the work we are doing here in the city of Kenner. That's important. And I think, look, every time I give these reports, I have to go back to the growth of the city of Kenner, what we see, what's happening. You guys know we are cutting ribbons probably every week, if not every other week. I think there's 2 or at least 2 scheduled for next week. We have CarMax that will be cutting its ribbon sometime in March in District 2 with Councilman Segura. That is extremely impressive for the city of Kenner. And then, of course, we have Lamarck Ford that will be cutting, they're open already with some of their development, but we'll be cutting those ribbons sometime in the summer when he's completely finished with everything. Mr. Lamarck wants to wait until that's done. But as those things come around, and again, back in District 2, I know you always enjoy this, Councilman Seguin. It seems like we're always in your district. But in District 2, the marketplace, I mean, we're getting ready to cut 2 more ribbons very soon over there. We continue to work with Councilman Brannigan. Councilman Brannigan continues to work with us for the Esplanade Mall and the Pavilion. As you heard last week, myself and Councilman Brannigan announced that a new fitness center is coming to the Pavilion. And I know that's the hard work of the Council District 4 office, along with my office, making sure we're meeting with that owner. Mr. Ben Dempsey has been in numerous times with this administration and this councilman, more than what he's been in before with any other councilman or administration. He's showing that he wants to move forward with the Pavilion Shopping Center. I do believe, just like George does, that we will see a lot of growth at the Pavilion Shopping Center with the things that are happening there. And of course, you have the naysayers on social media, which I get so aggravated with, and so does Councilman Brannigan, with why one more fitness center? Well, at least they want to come to Kenner. I mean, we can't say don't come to Kenner. We need to take these businesses. And what that fitness center does, I think it's 30,000 square feet, is that correct? They talk about how many people every day? 500? 700. Which creates traffic flow down. 700 to 900 people going in that fitness center every day. What that's going to do to that Pavilion Shopping Center. There are talks with a grocery store next to it. We don't want to disclose that right now, but at least 2 grocery stores are talking to the owner right there. Give us time. We've come a long way with you guys in 6 months. We've come a long way with this administration in the last 2 years and the help of the former council also in the last 2 years. We're going to make a difference by the year 2020. So I appreciate y'all giving us this time. Council Chairman, if you let me have Chad Pitfield come up to give a short presentation on something going on in the Recreation Department, I would appreciate that, to yield it to him.
Absolutely. Mr. Pitfield?
Thank you all. Good morning. I wanted to come up and give a little bit of information on a new program that we are doing at some of our recreation facilities at some of the tot lots and some of the play structures that the children are using. Not making it any secret, when I first came here, we talked about we were going to come up with some ideas, some things that are out of the box a little, trying to get children away from behind the video screens, sitting at home and getting them out in the recreation facilities. So I had the occasion to go to a recent conference, the National Recreation and Parks Association, where this product was exhibited there. I immediately realized this is something that we need to integrate in our parks and playgrounds. So the BIBA playground implementation, we approved it several months ago. We just completed all of the locations, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a introduction to it. Believe we're going to work with Kenner TV to get some more information out. And again, we'll go through and I'll explain to you what it is. So that kind of gives you an outline of what it is. I know it's a little bit smaller on some of the screens, but it's basically, it's multifaceted. It is family oriented, so it involves parents and children interacting together on playground structures. It also, again, like I said, it gets children from behind video screens. It gets them out and actually out in the environment, playing on the structures. They are using mom and dad's, or, depending on the age and the parents' preference, it may be their own smartphone or tablet that they can use. So this is available on all Apple and Android devices. You download the free program, and it's interactive with the children. The third part that benefits us, and I'll show you in the slides, is it gives me a monthly report that shows me peak times, peak days, what equipment's being used, so we can actually now see who's using our facilities and when they're using them. So we've never been able to do this before, and we aren't the first ones around. It's the first time it's been implemented in our city, but I'll show you in a map here in the future, in a second, on where it's being used elsewhere. So you'll notice that we now currently have it at 6 of our facilities. You'll clearly be able to designate which ones they are, because you'll see the Play BIBA sign that is up in the front. And again, here we see children and parents interacting with each other, having a good time on the playground, and that's exactly what we're looking to do. So this is actually our locations currently, and I'll show you where they are. So it's, you see those little targets that are actually placed on on the playground structures. That's what is the interactive portion utilizing the mobile devices. So currently we have them at the Seton Park Pocket Park, Lake Town Pocket Park, the Erlanger Tot Lot, Kenner City Park, Buddy Lawson Tot Lot, and Rosemary Minor Pocket Park. That is where they are installed currently, and you'll see that on the map to the left. That's the city of Kenner. If you look over to the right, you can see Jefferson Parish has it, the city of New Orleans has it, and as we broaden that map, it's a nationwide thing. So it's a great program that is out there. It's relatively new. It's only a few years old, so we're not that far behind. But it's a good time for us to get on board, and it's my hope as we continue to go on in the future, as the budget allows me, I want to continue to add this. So it's at all of our facilities. So you're not going to just the BEBA locations. We're going to have all this data available at all of our facilities. So as I talked about that report, this is an actual report that was received from the Seton Park location. So you can see, this is the kind of data that I can get that I have never been able to get before. I can see what is the most utilized structure, which is a slide. And the reason we know that is because there's targets on there that people are scanning and utilizing the targets. So the kids, I have a little brief, very 1 minute long video that's going to be behind this. It's going to show you exactly what you do. But the kids go there and they scan with the mobile device on the slide, and it tells them, go slide down the slide, come back to the mobile device, and rub the windshield wipers on the car. So it's interactive with them using digital technology, but they're outside and they're running and they're playing outside where we haven't been able to have that before. So I'm going to show this little 1 minute video just to give us a little idea, and then I'll take any questions.
This is how BEBA games work. We've made them fun, fast, and easy. If parents have never downloaded our games, the instructions are right on the entryway sign located in each playground. They only need to do this once. Like any other mobile app, our games are available for both Apple and Android phones, and they are always free to play. Every game is different, and each comes with easy-to-understand instructions that parents can refer to at any time. Unlike other video games, BEBA games require the child to be active, make friends, and complete challenges using the playground equipment. And that's 90% of our fun. The other 10% comes from memorable minigame moments that use the parent's smartphone in new and surprising ways. Although our games will work in a limited fashion on any playground, a playground enhanced with our markers unlocks all of the family fun. Scanning these markers using the smartphone's camera is simple, and each scan unlocks brand new puzzles, challenges, and rewards. Every BEBA gameplay session also captures a cloud of unique data that can be turned into fun fitness metrics for the family and community activity indicators that can guide the hand of community planners. If this sounds like something you'd like to see in your community, contact us at www.playbeba.com.
So that's all I have to present. If anyone has any questions.
Yes, we do have some questions. Chad, Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to that, Director. I think this is something that's good as far as being innovative for the city of Kenner. It comes at a perfect time for the summer. Summer is coming, and the tot lots that you show, particularly for District 1 at Buddy Lawson and Rosemary Minor, you maybe wouldn't be surprised, but the number of people that come to those two tot lots to play with their younger children, and I think this will identify with the younger children, particularly for their parents who are millennials who are savvy with the cell phone, who can take advantage of this, and even the children can take advantage because they are just as savvy with the phones, will be able to participate because they have a tendency to get kind of pushed around when they go into the gym or on the playground by the bigger kids. Not anything meaningful, but they are just small and they are overpowered, but they are in their world when they are out there to do that. So I look forward for, I'm not sure if there are different levels for this. Will you be adding more sections to it, or how does that evolve? The BEBA program evolves from where we start to where we can go.
So the program with the targets are actually in place, so it's actually up to the software developer to come up with new games and expand it on that end. We've done our work. We've done the hardware. We basically put the targets and we have it there, so they will constantly change the games and the software. So it won't be the same program forever, but that's handled on the software side.
Okay, would it be possible for your office to email me the games and the definition and just a little bit of information? So I like to take the opportunity to share on my webpage something new that people can see and get an idea about how they can take advantage of this as we get into the summer months.
Yes, sir.
I would appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Brannigan?
I just wanted to say thank you for doing a great job with the Recreation Department, and moving us into the next phase is awesome, and it really caters to these kids that are using iPads and iPhones. My little grandson showed me how to put the ESPN app on my iPhone the other day. So
Now you're set.
interesting. Yeah, Brian, I had another comment about the pavilion that Ben talked about.
Certainly.
Is now the time to do that?
Yes, we're in open comments. It's fine.
Okay. The only thing I wanted to say about the pavilion is, I know in the past, everybody has seen where Kohl's is coming, Joe's Grocery's coming, this one's coming. The way that I'm doing it, working with Ben and the administration, is you're going to find out what's coming when we have something solid, because I don't want anyone to say, well, you told me 5 different places were coming. And the other thing that on social media, I've been getting hit that when I ran my election, I ran on, getting these things filled, and people are saying, you've been in office 7 months and you haven't done anything. Well, let's make sure we understand each other. My office sends out letters to businesses. I work with Kelly Hand, the Economic Development Coordinator, to follow up with these businesses, and the goal is to get these things filled. It's not my job or Ben's job to lease the places. It's our job to try and bring businesses to them. And there's a lot of people that think that we're going to fill these places. Well, I can tell you, we're trying to fill them, but we're trying to get businesses, attract business to our city to make the city better than it is today. And that's the goal. It's been a great relationship working with Ben and the administration, because we're all on the same page on the corner of Chateau and West Esplanade and the Esplanade Mall. But I'm not going to tell you that we have something coming and then all of a sudden it falls through. I'll tell you when we have something solid like this fitness center coming, and it's going to generate traffic, and that's what you need to spin off other businesses in these locations. You need traffic flowing through there. So if you have any questions for me, please feel free to call me. Everyone should have my cell phone number. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman McKinney?
Oh, yes, I think I'm applauding this. I think this is great. Obviously, I am a mother of small children that it's going to be able to play with these at these playgrounds. I just have a couple of questions. So, does the city pay like a software license? Do we pay for hardware, or is it something that is an ongoing basis? And what's the plan to expand? Obviously, you're just doing it. Is that the initial, and you plan to expand it, or you're just going to leave it in those 6 playgrounds?
So the cost is $2,000 per facility. We recently did a $10,000 purchase to give it to the 5. When we installed the new Seton Park, right when I first came in here, we added it to the Seton Park facility that came in. So that basically covers the hardware. Everything else is handled through, I guess it's through sponsors and so forth, through the gaming software program. So there is no additional charge.
Okay, great.
It's a one-time fee for the hardware and the installation for them to come out and do that. And then as far as expansion, absolutely, it's just going to depend on, where I can pull from my budget next year, and I hope to do another 5 locations next year.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Councilman Segura?
Thank you, Council President. Chad, as I noticed in the drawing or the map, there are no locations in District 2, but I understand that's because of the problems we're having with our tot lots and getting repaired, replaced, and refurbished. So what is the timeline that as a tot lot that in this area comes online, we can get that installed in each one?
Well, and again, this goes back to when we initially spoke, when I came in as well, and this new council got seated. It's my recommendation that if we're going to do a tot lot in the future, that we look at possibly funding the shade structure that goes on it as well. And then I think this is going to be in addition to that. I think if we're going to do a tot lot, let's do it right the first time. And, you know, if we can do the shade structure, we do that. If we can add the BEBA in, we do it all at the same time. I will tell you that I'm probably going to be tight the remainder of this budget cycle, but I will definitely look to allocate some funding next budget cycle to expand this to different facilities as well.
Well, I hope so, because, yeah, I tend to have the Highway Park tot lot back up by the end of the year. And then I know we have issues with the Green Lawn.
Correct.
And then the Pocket Park on Alabama, or Arizona.
Arizona, yes, sir.
And then here at Veterans Park, we need to get moving on replacing those.
Absolutely, and especially the ones that are in the bigger areas like Veterans Park, but we have some repair needs there, so we weren't going to put the program on the facility that's closed.
So I recognize that that's
Yes.
why there was no dots in
Absolutely.
my district, because of these tot lots in various
The goal is
stages.
to spread them throughout the city so everybody can have access to them.
Right, so hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have more dots in the area for
Yes, sir.
getting these other tot lots back online. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor Zahn?
Yes, just to go back to what Councilman Brannigan was talking about, I totally agree with you. And I think we have to remind not everyone, certain people, that this issue with the Pavilion Shopping Center has been unaddressed for numerous years. I mean, many council people, many administrations, I don't think they had that working relationship with Ben Dempsey, the owner. If you look, it's come a long way in the last 2 years, 6 months of what we've been doing there. I think you have answered it the best on social media, is when there's a few people that criticize it, because the general public understands what's going on there, as they appreciate the work that you're doing. But the way you've answered it, and I think it needs to be said publicly right here, because not everybody looks at the social media garbage that goes on about the Pavilion Shopping Center, but how you've answered it is when people say, you know, why is nothing happening there? And you come back and say, would you like me to give you the leasing agent? Because we'd like you to open a business. Some people that criticize it don't want to move forward and do something about it. And I want to just thank you for working with us to do something about it. But the comments that you've made on social media about why don't you just go ahead and lease a business, you know, they kind of back off when you say that. So I just want to applaud you and your office for saying those things and having the courage to say it. And that's why I wanted to say it here, to back you up on it, Councilman Brannigan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Wilmot?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just, too, wanted to thank you, Chad, for your hard work on this issue. And it's great to have interactive, something like this. It's new. The times are changing, and it's going to help families get out and get their children out to the playgrounds again. And I'd love to see that, and I think it's great. So thank you for your hard work, and I look forward to the future and seeing how it evolves, and I think it's going to be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Wilmot. Mr. Pitfield, one question I have. These dots, does it report if the district councilman in Seton Park went down the slide?
We'll have video cameras that will make that available.
I'd appreciate it if you don't. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No other comments, Council Chair.
Okay, no problem. Mayor, you finished?
Councilman Carroll, I apologize.
No. This is not to Mr. Chatfield. This is for the mayor comments as it relates to the code sweeps for the city. And, you know, again, I like to thank Mr. Mohammed and the code men and women, because they are the guys, the ladies who are boots on the ground. They are the ones that have to deal with family members. And, you know, sometimes it can get kind of testy because no one likes to be called out. I don't care who you are, you don't like to be called out. And they have to have the ability to deal with that on a professional level, not to bring it to a point where it can, you know, get the police involved. So for them to do that, I think that is a very, very important thing. Also, you know, as it relates to, it's a collective process with the administration, with the code, with the council, that we are addressing these issues face to face. And I think it's important to know that everybody wants their property to look better. We have a responsibility to ensure that the city looks better, and we all are into this. So, you know, and most of the questions or most of the response, even from people who are being cited, you know, to me, Councilman, we just want to make sure that the enforcement, that the attention is from the river to the lake. And I am thankful that the Code Department, the mayor, are able to put this information out by Mr. Ross to show the different districts, because now when people say, well, are they only picking on our district, you can literally show them the map, the different districts where the sweeps are being done. So as long as we keep the focus towards that to show that it's across the board, I think people will be able to accept it and move forward and help their property to become better for the city of Kenner, not only from a personal standpoint, but for their neighbors also. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Council Clerk?
Yes, sir. Item 5 is acceptance, rejection of bids requiring an expenditure of less than $5,000. We have none. Item 6 is change orders requiring an expenditure of less than $5,000. We have none. Item 7 is acceptance of committee findings for final passage. We have none. Item 8 is re-subdivision ordinances for final passage. Item 8A is summary ordinance number 12,480, an ordinance rescinding ordinance number 11,209, adopted December 15, 2016, and approving the plan of re-subdivision of Lot B-R, Square 5, into lots B-R-1 and B-R-2, Square 5, Hanson Place subdivision, which lots are owned by 3R's Properties, LLC. Item 8B is summary ordinance number 12,481, an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of Lot D-1-A into lots D-2-A and 8-B-2, Hanson Place subdivision, which lots are owned by Renton Properties, Incorporated.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda this evening, we have item 9, public hearings. We have none. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. We have none. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution calling a public hearing to determine whether the structures located at 1610 Roosevelt Boulevard, Kenner, Louisiana, shall be abated by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 13B is a resolution calling a public hearing to determine whether the structures located at 1932 Roosevelt Boulevard in Kenner, Louisiana shall be abated by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Council members, please vote.
Please vote again. One more time. One more vote. Motion passes 7-0. Item 13C is a resolution naming and designating the Butch Dewey Basketball Court as the Marilyn M. Swanson Memorial Court.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. We have someone that would like to speak, Council Clerk. My apologies.
You got one?
Councilmember Segura would like to speak. I don't have my screen.
Oh, you can't put your light on? You're on.
Okay, thank you. All right, this resolution comes with, unfortunately, a sad and a happy emotion. Naming something that was part of this person's life for a long time is with good feelings, but it's unfortunate that it has to be that they have passed. So I would like to call Mr. Chad Pitfield up to add some more on this. But Miss Marilyn has been a longtime friend of Butch Dewey, and anybody that's been through the playground, myself, my kids, have known her and just knew she was such a wonderful person. When I first came in office, we spent a lot of time together going through the Butch Dewey gym to give me her thoughts on what needed to be upgraded, replaced, and worked on. And we got started on those, and I'm sure there's probably still some more because she never seemed to have an end of a list. But I'm certainly very happy to have worked with her to help make Butch Dewey a better place for the kids to go play. Chad, you have something you wanted to add, I believe?
Yeah, I just wanted to add real quick, and one of the most important things that we can leave is the legacy behind for what we do. And I unfortunately, since I came here in May, wasn't able to work with Miss Marilyn. But from my employees and from the community as a whole, I know the impact that she made. This was actually a no-brainer for us. As Councilman Segura alluded to, it takes an unfortunate occurrence for this to happen because she deserved this. She deserved to be here to see this happen. I know today that we have Mr. Robbie, her husband. We have Miss Dee, her daughter, and her sister, Miss Ava, that's here with us, along with other family members as well. So this is the least that we can do. We know that she made that impact and she left that great legacy behind. If anybody attended the services, you can tell. That is when people that haven't seen each other since childhood were re-interacting together. And that's what we're trying to do in recreation, is bring people together to have fun. And she absolutely did her job.
We have a little glitch here.
Yeah, we're just going to have to make it work. So if there's anybody that would like to speak, please just
right.
notify the clerk.
Okay, well, I'll close out so the others can speak.
Anybody else? on the
Councilman
issue?
Wilmot?
Councilman Wilmot?
And Councilman Carroll said he wanted to speak too.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to mention, I knew Miss Marilyn since the early 2000s. I was blessed to be able to be a playground coach under her direction at Westgate Playground. And I know she did coach, she was a supervisor at both Butch Dewey and Westgate Playgrounds for expanded over 4 decades. Miss Marilyn was a kind and thoughtful person, and I'm glad to see that we're capable and doing a resolution in her honor. So, and my prayers out to the family and so forth who were here and related to her, and God bless her. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I, too, would like to give my condolences to the family, also to let them know that Miss Marilyn and I not only had an association with the playground, but went to the same church, Our Lady of Perpetual Help. She was there before I was there. She was there when I played on the playground, and she helped coach my daughter. And we grew up playing at Morgan Buddy Lawson, but when there were no teams, the young ladies would all go there because Miss Marilyn always had a team. So as I became a young man and a father, she became my mentor with my daughter and with me still. So, it's good that we here in the city of Kenner take those opportunities to recognize the men and women from the recreation department that many of us are part of. I see a number of people in the audience, Mr. Diane and Mr. Rusty, who also were, when I was a little boy, as part of that process. And I think we always give them the gratitude that they deserve. So for Miss Marilyn and for all the guys, Mr. Sal, Mr. Lawson, and all these people before, it is only fitting. So again, thank you for your mom. Thank you for sharing, and God bless. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll.
Councilman Segura, to close?
Just in closing, it's hard to want to close something like this because it does seem like it's putting an end to her time, but her memory will certainly be continuing with this action so that the future kids in that go to the playground can keep wondering, well, who was that? And then can hear the stories of what she did, and that made us all feel so heartwarming to do this. So I hate saying it's closure, but that's the process to stop this discussion for right now so we can vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Seeing no other discussion, council members, please vote.
One more. Motion passes 7-0. Item 13D is a resolution naming and designating the Green Lawn Playground Baseball Field as the Emmett J. Krupp Jr. Memorial Field.
Councilmember Segura, you have the floor.
I have a motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot.
Thank you. Again, without sounding being repetitive, it's with heavy heart to again go through this same process with the emotion of saying it's a good thing, but then it's a bad thing. Mr. Crump, Emmett was a longtime friend also, knew him for many, many years through the city. And he did a wonderful, wonderful job at not only Green Lawn, but predominantly at Highway Park. It's just unfortunate, City of Kenner does not own the property that Highway Park was founded on for its recreational use. It's school board property, and we just had an arrangement to utilize that property, which ended a few years ago, and since recreation no longer had a need for it, it reverted back to the full-time, the school board. Since Emmett did have a lot of years in Green Lawn, is the next best thing to do is move and name this after him, the baseball field after him. The future, I will say, if you caught a few minutes ago on Tot Lot, I'm working very diligently with the school board to try to reclaim a portion of that, what we refer to as Highway Park, for still city use. And as that develops and becomes a reality, then we'll have his name on that park. Right now, this is something that we felt we wanted and needed to do, not only for him, but his family and all the kids that came through the ranks and worked with him. But, it is a goal to get something in the Highway Park. So as I hopefully finalize the quagmire that it takes to get school board property back to our use, that it will happen, and we're going to put a tot lot back there. So when that happens, we'll hopefully rediscuss this then. So again, but to the family of Mr. Emmett, we certainly appreciated his time with us. Thank y'all for allowing him to spend that time with us. And Chad, did you wanted to add something too, I believe?
And just again, most of the comments that I said previously go the same. I know we have Mr. Randy here. That is Mr. Emmett's son. So thank you for being here. Again, it's the least that we can do for what your dad has done for the Kenner Recreation Department. As a child, I grew up at Green Lawn, right across Williams Boulevard from that, knew Mr. Emmett well. We had some interactions when I first came here in May, and it was unfortunate to see his health decline at the rapid rate that it did. So I am sure he is up above serving his apple juice, and everything is going good, and he's going to be looking down on us. So again, thank you very much for being here, and again, from our deepest, that's our gratitude for what your father has done for the Recreation Department.
Yeah, I'll stop and let others go back, and then I'll.
Thank you, Councilman Segura. Councilman Wilmot?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would just like to also make comment on Emmett Krupp. What a wonderful man. Truly good guy. Long-term supervisor at Highway Park. supervised many, many coaches, players, kids. And when he used to joke with my daughter, you know, what do you bleed? And he says, the answer is not red, it's green and gold. I just welcome this dedication, and we're truly blessed to have gotten to know Emmett, and we thank you for Emmett and his family. Thank you. We'll keep him in our prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Wilmot. Councilman Brannigan, would you mind yielding the floor to Reagan so she can make a comment, please?
I just wanted to say that Mr. Emmett was a resident with us towards the end of his life, and he was still all Kenner. That's all I ever heard was about the park. We actually, during our ball, used one of the cups that he had made for his wife for our queen to drink as she got ready. So he will always be remembered as a great man, and even up into his death, he was still all Kenner. Great guy.
Thank you. Councilman Brannigan?
Yeah, I coached many teams at Bertolino, and the last championship I had, I won at Highway Park when I was coaching my daughter's softball team. And I'll never forget walking off the field, he goes, "Well, congratulations, Coach, you won another one." I said, "Well, thank you." He goes, "Too bad it's purple and gold, though, instead of green and gold." But great guy, he was out there for the kids, and he poured 1,000,000% into that playground and made a difference in people's lives, and that's what it's all about.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Segura?
Again, as I said last time, it's hard to close on something this way. It is just our process when we say I'm closing is to end the discussion so that we can vote and obviously move forward with this naming and get it moving forward to be recognized on the field. And then, like I said to the family, I will do something else once I get some ownership or use of the Highway Park field again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Segura. Seeing no other comments, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 12,482, an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the engineering agreement with Digital Engineering and Imaging Incorporated dated June 1st, 2015, for the improvements to Aberdeen Street from Veterans Memorial Boulevard to the north boundary of the Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport Phase 1 of the North Terminal Access Road project to increase the not-to-exceed amount by $100,000 and to extend contract time by 2 calendar years for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Hayes. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 12,483, an ordinance approving an agreement with Digital Engineering and Imaging Incorporated to provide engineering services associated with the construction of Fire Station 38 in an amount not to exceed $584,625 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Carroll, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
One more. Motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 12,484, an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the memorandum of understanding with the New Orleans Aviation Board to provide an additional $100,000 in reimbursable funding for the design of the airport access road.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 12,485, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Bucktown Contractors and Company in the amount of $637,996.03 for the West Esplanade Avenue Canal Crossing, Public Works Project Number 2018-001-RB, in accordance with seal bid number 18-6449 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Segura, seconded by Councilmember Hayes. Councilman Segura, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. Well, this is something that is been a while coming, and certainly very, very happy to get it to this point. The idea of this crossing U-turn started in right after or somewhere around the time I was taking office, but certainly my first meeting in this was with the previous mayor, previous parish councilman, now Mayor Benzon, some engineers at the Marketplace Shopping Center to discuss this project. And at that time, it was presented and ideas were presented on how to help out the that area of West Esplanade between Williams and David Drive, Power Boulevard, to allow a better flow of traffic to come and partake of the Marketplace Shopping Center particularly, but just also to allow residents another means to not have to go from long distances to come in that part of the city and then return back to where they came from. So with that, we started on the process with money provided by Mayor Zahn as parish councilman, money provided by the city, and money that I put up from my council district. We got into the project. It's taking the time that sometimes projects of this nature take. I want to say long time, but it is the time it takes. It appears to be a long time, and I agree, it has been 4 years that we've been working on it, and didn't necessarily think it should or would be this long, but things are out of our control. But we stayed on target to get it moving and keep it moving to where we're now ready to start work and finish it off. With the passage of this ordinance today, just for a timeline so people listening can still appreciate what's left to do, we have a mandatory 17-day built-in wait before contracts can be signed. Public Works Department, along with our CAO for Public Works, will meet with the contractor, Bucktown Contractors, to discuss in more detail the project with them and work on a reasonable start date. Once that's worked out, which will be in March, probably in the first week of March 10th or so, and then hopefully a notice to proceed going out by April. Can I say April 2nd? Mr. Schreiner gave me a date of April 1st, but I don't want to make it sound like an April Fool, so I'm going to use April 2nd, that we will issue a notice to proceed, and then it's a 120-day contract, barring any substantial weather, which if we get in that timeline, we hopefully won't have any hurricane delays, but there could be some rain delays, maybe. But the 120 days is what the contract will call for. So with all that said, we're certainly looking in July, end of July, to have the completed project. So with that, we should see work progressing in the next month or two, and then finishing up by July, and have a much easier way for Kenner residents to progress up and down West Esplanade, as well as visit the Marketplace Shopping Center. And the current work has started for the Chrysler Jeep dealership. They've started doing site work, so they will be starting their construction relatively soon, and won't say they'll be finished by then, but certainly probably in that timeline. So with that, it is very, very heartwarming for me to say that we are now ready to put this project, finish it up, and get it on to another one. So with that, I urge everyone to please support the passage. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Segura. Mayor Zahn?
Thank you, Council Chairman. And Councilman, when you say 4 years, we're in that fourth year. So, look, I don't think from the time we sat down, and I know you and I have had this discussion, and we've obviously brought in Councilman Hayes because it does affect his district a little bit. I don't think it's a bad time frame. I know there's been some that have complained about that, but in those 3 years, we're in that fourth year right now. In those 3 years, we've covered that canal. It's been covered more than what we thought it would be covered. And when you're putting entities together like the parish, the city, and the property owner, it takes a little while. So I think like we've discussed, and we discussed with Councilman Hayes, I think we have done pretty darn good. It's moved along pretty good. Also want to give thanks to, I know I was the parish council at the time, and you're still the city councilman, but worked very closely with us. You also were the mayor for a period of time there, that we had to continue to work to get that done. But I also want to thank Councilman Impostata, who has left us to go into the parish, who has picked up where I left off with that and has continued to make sure that we have anything we need. Because the parish did put in, besides the $1 million that came from the BP oil spill, the parish also did put in a lot of the pipes and some of the manpower for free. So Jefferson Parish has been a big friend with us with this. There will be a sign erected probably within the next couple of weeks that will give thanks to this council, obviously our chief and myself, and also Councilman Impostata and Councilman Spears, our Jefferson Parish friends, for continuing to work on that. I do think that, like I said, we've come a long way in those last 3 years. We're in the fourth year, but sometime during the summer, we will have, probably the end of the summer, we will have a completed project which shows 3 entities working together and getting work done. This is Kenner continuing to be on the move and get a lot of things done. So I want to thank you. I also want to thank Councilman Hayes, obviously the 2 parish council people, for their assistance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Segura, we have one more person wishing to speak. Councilman Hayes?
Yes, this has been a major project. The new people here came to office in July, so we don't have the sweat equity, I sure don't, that this whole project entailed, but it's so important. If I've had one question since July taking this office, it's been this project right here. So again, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mike. You have done a good job. And again, it's good timing. It's here now, and I think we'll soon see results come late summer. So thank everybody involved. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Hayes. Councilman Segura, to close?
Yes, thank you. And yeah, Mayor, I wasn't blaming the time. I was disheartened that it took that long, but I understand that that's what I said. Projects of this nature, when you're incorporating so many entities, it does take the time. And certainly, like I said, you stepped up and put your BP money, which Councilman Impostata says you used all before he got there.
There's nothing left for him.
I know. So he gets the pat, but he didn't put the money up.
I didn't know if he was going to win.
But with that also, I do also want to, and I should have done it a minute ago, was recognize the owner of the Marketplace Shopping Center was an investor in this project. He himself put up a considerable amount of money to help get it funded. And unfortunately, was maybe a little bit of the delay, because when he changed his plans in not completing a retail center throughout the whole length of the property that he owned, but decided to sell half of it while this was under construction, created a design problem. And then that's another part of the delay, was because it had to go back into design and be redesigned to accommodate the 2 business entities that are now in that parcel of land. So, but again, everybody just has to understand projects take time, things take time, and we never once sat on our heels and let it go by. We had many, many, many meetings to kick it down the road and keep it moving. So it's here. So again, thank y'all.
Thank you, Councilman Segura. Seeing no other discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 12,486, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of office supplies on an as-needed basis not to exceed $125,000 annually, utilizing the St. John the Baptist School Board contract number 19.10 with Louisiana Office Products Incorporated for the city of Kenner.
Motion by Councilmember Hayes, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance, a resolution approving Rule 7, regular meetings of the Council of the Rules of the Organization, Business, Order, and Procedure of the Council of the City of Kenner to adjust the meeting times of the Kenner City Council. Item 16B is an ordinance approving the sale of a portion of unimproved right-of-way of Georgia Avenue between squares 41 and 42, Highway Park Subdivision, Kenner, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, which said property is owned by the city of Kenner. Item 16C is an ordinance amending the 2018-2019 capital budget to reallocate $20,000 from funds received for security cameras to provide funding for firefighter bunker gear and firefighter equipment. Item 16D is an ordinance amending ordinance number 11,424, an ordinance which authorized the creation of the class of Deputy Chief of Administration of Fire Department to correct typographical errors. Item 16E is an ordinance ratifying an emergency purchase to furnish and install fire doors at the Woodward Gym in the amount of $8,688.50 by B&M Metal Doors and Frames Incorporated for the City of Kenner Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16F is an ordinance approving an extension to the franchise agreement with Cox Communications Louisiana LLC, successor in interest to Cox Cable Jefferson Parish Incorporated. Item 16G is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Avery Dennison to supply reflective sheeting in accordance with seal bid number 19-6453 in an amount not to exceed $30,000 annually for the Department of Public Works. Item 16H is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Traffic Solutions Incorporated to provide guardrail maintenance in accordance with seal bid number 19-6454 in an amount not to exceed $30,000 annually for the Department of Public Works. Item 16I is an ordinance accepting an agreement with QSend Technologies Incorporated to provide software solution for citizen relationship management in accordance with request for proposal number 18-6451 and an amount not to exceed $40,900 for the Department of Public Works. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees.
Yeah, we have a few members that would like to speak. Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes, I was just wanting to wish one of our members up here a happy birthday. Councilman Tom Wilmont's birthday's today. I'm sure he's probably 40 today, so happy birthday.
Thank you, Councilmember McKinney. Councilman Segura?
Thank you. Just back up a second, and Councilman Wilmont and I were just discussing, we were probably a little remiss when we were approving the other legislation to recognize family members of both Miss Marilyn and Mr. Emmett. With Miss Marilyn's family that's still here, please stand so we can, again, as I said, and we all want to say thank y'all for allowing her to be part of our life and the part of a kid's life for a long time, and we look forward to the naming of her up there on the gym so that it can be remembered for many years to come. So I know this is always a tough time, and thank y'all very much. And the family of Mr. Emmett Crump, anybody remaining? There you go, thank you. Same thing, I just want to thank y'all for allowing Emmett to spend his time with us in the city. As you've heard, it was well receptive, and a lot of people have strong memories of him, and so we look forward to keeping that memory as alive as best we can. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Councilmember Segura. Councilman Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. President. And as I look into the audience, I apologize for not being here for the royalty with the king and the queen in the front. But keep it in that spirit, I'd like to just say that I've had the opportunity to participate in a couple of king and queen events. The first one was at the Louis Armstrong International Airport, along with Mayor Zahn, Councilman Segura, and the fire chief, and giving a keys or proclamation to the queen of the Zulu organization. And the queen's name is Miss Kaylin Rainey, and the king is Mr. George Rainey, who happens to be her grandfather. And last night, I participated and attended the Granville T. Woods Elementary School 6th annual ball. And like to first thank the Recreation Department, thank the General Service Department, thank Ms. Fauché for supporting this and the administration. The little children are always excited about being a king and a queen. So I was able to participate in that. And the king for GT Woods was Mr. Ivan Quincy Robinson, and the queen, Chilo Renee Harris. So I'll have some pictures to be able to share. They were beautiful, and we look forward to the rest of our carnival season. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll. Council Clerk?
Yes, sir. Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or remove for a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Thank you. Ms. Reagan Fink? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Reagan Fink, and I live at 4321 Arkansas Avenue. I wanted to thank Councilman Hayes for coming out and seeing the street next to us that needed to be painted, and then seeing that it did get painted. I'd like to report that when we did have 20 people going the wrong way, my resident now has reported it's only 2 per day, and she bets they would do it no matter what. So that's actually an exciting thing for us because, you know, we don't want to see a wreck. And then also I wanted to thank y'all for having this day meeting because it is on our calendar every month. We come, we get the agenda beforehand, we look through it if our residents have anything to say or anything they want to discuss. It's important as we get older that we still stay active and still do everything we've always done, and it's very important to them to be able to come to this meeting. So I want to thank y'all, and I hope that we will continue to have this day meeting because without it, y'all be coming to my place on Fridays taking us out. So Mr. Joe, who is a very active member at our community, would like to speak as well.
Thank you. Mr. Joe?
Invited all of you to our Mardi Gras Ball, February 19th, and a number showed up. We appreciate it. And as far as this, Reagan lines up a number of road shows. And I've always been politically inclined. I worked my whole 40-year career in electrical engineering and management with Energy Corporation. Been retired 30 years, though. And I've always paid attention to government. I've had the opportunity to been invited on like this type of government, local government. I've also been with the state legislature in Baton Rouge, sat in on House of Representatives function. And I have a daughter in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which has been there since 1976. And I got a chance to tour Washington and Williamsburg and all the interesting places of Virginia. But also I attended the House of Representatives on one of the trips up there. Caught a lot of golf tournaments and things like that. played an avid game of golf. Wasn't real good at it, but it was something to do. After my wife told me a few years after retiring, you ought to find something to do. So I joined the AARP. I joined my church group in meetings and so forth. And about 2015, I had played a lot of basketball in high school, tried out for LSU, didn't make it. I've been only 6 feet tall. They needed 6'6" and things. But anyway, I enjoy politics. I voted in every election since I became able under Dwight Eisenhower. My dad was a staunch Democrat. He gave me a little noise about it. But anyway, it's good to be here and interesting to watch you at work.
Thank you, Mr. Joe. Councilman Segura.
Thank you, Council President. Reagan, and the other residents with you of Lake Village, just want to let you know on our next council agenda, unfortunately, it will be the Thursday night meeting, but I have legislation that will make this Friday meeting permanent. So even though I'd love to urge y'all to come on Thursday to support it, I understand the restraints and the things that will maybe not, but send a message to all of us through some means that y'all can, and I'm sure they'll take that in consideration to vote in that favor at the next meeting. So we'll hopefully continue this Friday meeting from here on. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Councilman. Ms. Jacqueline Haas. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Haas, and I'm a resident in Kenner, and my address is 1500 West Esplanade Avenue, a part of the District 4. What brought me here today is, first of all, I get to see the hearts of the community, that impacts me. I live here today and I see, wow, this is really what changed the community. I am part of La Voz de la Comunidad, and I believe that to change a community and to have healthy communities, you have to be strong on what you believe. And I believe that everything should start in your home and in your city, because sometimes we tend to make a difference somewhere else or far away from home. So I believe that things start in your house and in your city, and that's why I'm so passionate about my city in Kenner. The reason I'm here today is because, as being part of La Voz, which means Louisiana Voice of the community today, I am the community liaison. I'm a hands-on person, and I work in the community, is because we're here today to advocate for smart policies that reduce the youth access of alcohol. Therefore, we are here to follow up on individual meetings to address the council regarding the best practices available to the city of Kenner. I'd like to also invite David, who is our director of La Voz de la Comunidad.
Thanks. We've met with several of you individually over the past month. We actually began this work with the previous council, but then many of you are new, and we kind of restarted. We have folders. What Jackie and I and the rest of La Voz staff are doing, and members, which we have our chair here, Ernesto Carvalho.
We'd like to invite you.
Yes, he's the chairman of our board, the executive director of the Boy Scouts. What we're doing is we're advocating for policies that are best practice that other communities utilize to reduce youth access to alcohol. So as you may be aware of, and I know the individuals that we met with are, that we partnered and collaborated with the chief to do some stings within Kenner, in particular in Latino neighborhoods. We have a focus on Latino communities, and we had several places that failed and that sold alcohol to minors. And so on your end, what other communities have done and other community councils have done, have instituted policies that bring the owners of those businesses to bear on some consequences. Nothing financial per se. Sometimes they do utilize that, and where they, suspend licenses and whatnot to not allow them to sell alcohol. But others, what they do is they make the owners come in and take a specialized class. And we have a specialized class that is being conducted out of the Jefferson Parish Human Services Authority. And it's available, and it's designed for owners who have, issues with, their clerks selling alcohol. And it's detailed. It shows them best practices of how to set up their business and how to address this within their staff and employees, so they don't contribute to the delinquency of minors and have a youth accessing alcohol. So what we're doing is bringing to you this information and advocating for all of you to consider such policies in the future to help, reduce the Kenner youth's access to alcohol, which is, the data shows that among communities across the country, communities in South Louisiana have some of the highest youth access. Okay? That means youth can go to stores and buy it much more easily here than they can in other towns and other countries. That means that within family settings, youth can get their hand on alcohol much easier than other places. So we have a culture that's, the laissez-bon temps roulette type of culture, which is fine for the adults, but it has its consequences for youth. And so smart policies addressing that youth focus is what we're here to advocate for.
Ernesto Carballo, I'm not a city resident, but I am part of the coalition. All of you know who I am, or we've met before. In my day job, I work as the Chief Executive Officer of the Boy Scouts of America for 11 parishes throughout Southeast Louisiana. On my free volunteer time, I serve as chairman for La Voz Coalition of multiple non-for-profit, faith-based community organizations here in Kenner. And now we're spreading into Orleans Parish as well. Our primary focus and our mission was to restrict and educate young people with regards to use of alcohol or purchasing alcohol. When I saw the stings and the results, there were definitely, not to pick on specific stores, but you'd be surprised which stores in our community actually sold to minors, which is a shame. It's really a shame that we are allowing organizations to do that. We could be draconian and we could say, okay, take their license away. We don't want to impinge on financial or create financial difficulties for these owners of these corporations or mom and pop shops. But what we would like to do is to educate those owners, because what's happening is the owners are firing these entry-level minimum wage employees, and then the next person makes the same mistake. What we're advocating is to ensure that the city puts into place an educational and forces the owners of these establishments to be responsible, and they themselves have to face the piper, pay the piper, and be responsible, and understand that selling to minors is wrong, and here's why it's wrong. Not just financially, but ethically. So that's what our coalition's trying to push for, and we're trying to help other coalitions throughout the state of Louisiana to do the same things. So if you have any questions, we've got our cards and information have gone out, and we're pushing to make sure that the city does in fact pass this ordinance. And we've got 0, so I could speak for another hour or two. I'm so impassioned, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I know we've met, and I know you've met with other council members, and I apologize as it's kind of gotten pushed to the side. I will commit this, that I will speak with all the council members, and we will try to have some meetings again with you all, possibly by the next council meeting in 2 weeks, and if not, shortly thereafter. We all, I believe, would feel this is an important item. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. And, I'm very passionate about prevention, because I believe strongly that this is where we can really impact our people, just before time. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Almarella?
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 47 years. I want to start out, I want to share some information with the public concerning the property that we just purchased for $1.5 million. This information was not discussed at any time in the length of discussions we had on this issue. Okay, the property, first of all, is Square 104, consisted of 5 lots. Lot 6 was assessed at $34,700. Lot 7 assessed for $29,800. Lot 8A, $101,900. Lot 17, $29,800. And Lot 18, $34,200. Total assessment of all the property, $230,400. This assessment was done in 2016 based on $4.50 a square foot. Next item, I want to talk about a discussion we had at the Kenner Housing Authority meeting on the 13th. For years, the Kenner Police Department was getting a list of the properties and the locations that the Kenner Housing Authority oversees. Now HUD steps in, and HUD tells the Kenner Housing Authority they cannot give this information no more. This information contained no personal information whatsoever. Now, for years I've been saying HUD is the source of the problems with all of the agencies we have in this area. So once again, I'm going to call on the U.S. Attorney, Peter Strasser, the State Attorney General, Jeff Landry, to launch an extensive investigation into HUD and also an extensive audit of all their records. Now, I want to direct this to you, Councilman Carroll. I would like to see a resolution put forth before this council to support the Jefferson Parish Council on opposing the expansion of Cornerstone Cyanide Chemical Plant. We have a stake in this because this is right across the river from the airport. So I would like to see a resolution because there's a resolution going to be introduced by 2 council members to oppose this expansion. And I'm in opposition of it myself, along with numerous people from River Ridge, Harahan, probably parts of South Kenner. Okay? Now, I want to thank the mayor for recognizing Mr. Clancy early on in the meeting. But Mr. Clancy was not only just a member of Post 7732, he was one of the founders back in 1947, and he was the last chartered member that we had that was alive. So once again, Mayor, thank you for recognizing Mr. Clancy. Anybody got any comments, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morella. Mr. Greg Taft?
My name is Greg Taft. I live at 3720 West Loyola Drive in Kenner. The purpose I'm coming up here today is mainly because at the last council meeting, I had made a few statements that I feel that in making them, I used words that really took it out of text in discussing transparency. And I wanted to set the record straight. I recognize that our legal department does put in required information that is required for a resolution or an ordinance. And I don't want anybody to misunderstand that I'm thinking otherwise, because that's how it is. My only thing that I wanted is that in transparency, as Councilman Hayes and Councilman Segura pointed out, that I don't believe the citizens should have to go to a councilman for more information. That was the whole thing. I think that when you have an ordinance or a resolution, it should be clear and it should have the pertinent information that the citizens can utilize to understand it. But it didn't come out that way at the last council meeting, and for that I do apologize to the legal department because it wasn't meant the way that it came out. And I wanted to do it in person. I did it up here, and I'm apologizing up here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taft. Seeing no other persons wishing to address the council, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.